So today we are painting the tree drawing that we prepared last week. So this is my tree drawing that I prepared for this. I drew it dark, quite dark, just so you guys can see it. But on your paper, you didn't have to go so dark. With acrylics though, as opposed to watercolors, you can cover the drawing very well because you can make your paints opaque. So this is our goal for today. But we'll take it one step at a time. And to paint this, you have to go pretty thick with your paints. But our first step will be to paint our tree with a very watery wash. So this will be our initial step. And what I will do is I will demonstrate what I mean by that. And then I will give you time to do it. So the first step will be to do a wash. And the reason we are doing a wash, which means very watery, almost like when we do watercoloring, that's what we're going to do with the acrylics. The beauty of that is that if you go, if you put paint in an area where you don't want the paint, then you can easily erase it and wash it off with some water. I'll show you how. It also is your chance to adjust your drawing. If if there are certain areas of your drawing that you don't really like or you're unsure of, now will be the time to readjust it by doing a very light wash. Right, so now you can see what we're aiming for. This is my drawing that I'm going to do a very watery wash on this. The colors I'm going to use to do this is mostly green for the foliage, and I will add a little bit of red to my green and to do this part of the branches. So the colors that we are using, if we're looking at the color wheel, so this color wheel is an industrial one, but so the colors that we are using are the red, and right opposite from the red is the green. So we're using two complementary colors. The red is out of the tube, it's the alizarin crimson, and the green we are making by mixing our our ultramarine blue with the primary yellow that we have. All right, and we're going to work very watery. A big brush for this purpose is good. So watch the demonstration and then I will give you the time to do this. And to do this, so to make my colors, I'm just going to point this towards the palette at this time. So I have the ultramarine blue here. I have other colors because I've been painting some other stuff. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this. Where is it? I wanted to show you something. If I clean my brush, I wanted to show you how cobalt blue can be different in different brands. So I have cobalt blue here. This is cobalt blue. That is, I can show it. I can probably show it here. This is cobalt blue in Winsor Newton. This color. And gonna drip. And then I have cobalt blue in the Artist Loft brand. That's the Michaels brand. Just to show you how different they are. So this one is Michaels brand. I'm gonna put it closer to the screen just so you see. So can you tell the difference on the screen? Not really.
They're close.
They're very close. They're so different for me here. Because this has a lot of yellow in it, and this has a lot of blue. Maybe if I go a little darker with them, might be better. Nope, that still looks like the same blue. Oh well, I guess this is an example for in the studio. Can you tell the difference now?
Yes.
So this one is a lot more, it's a lot more opaque, but it doesn't show, I think on the screen it doesn't show how this one has a lot more yellow in it. This one.
Yeah, I can see a difference though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
lighter.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway. Oh, now I'm gonna mess up my whole thing. I'm gonna go like this. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you too. So with acrylics, when you go very watery, no medium. Let's say I want to remove some of it, so I can dry my brush and I can just remove it like this, and see how I can remove it almost totally.
Wow.
Yeah. So as you do your exercise today, the first exercise where we're going to use a wash, you know, don't despair, paint with Claire, but you can always erase it. All right. So I'm going to prepare a green that is very watery. So I use some of my primary yellow with a lot of water. See how watery it is?
Mhm.
Very watery. And just a little teeny little bit of my blue in it. So it gives me something like this. This is the color that I get. It's very watery, and it's my lime green. So that would probably be what I would put on top. So with this lime green, that's very watery, I can easily cover all of the foliage.
Claire, I can't see the top of the screen
Ooh,
of your
ooh.
painting.
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you for
Thank
telling
you.
me. Thank you for telling me. I was okay. So I'm just covering this with this light wash. So note how I'm not going like this, like all very delicately. I'm just covering it. So I'm using the side of the brush. And this area as well. So this is my first layer. And this is my wash. I can decide here. See, I'm going outside of my lines a little bit. And out. Okay. So now I have, so I've done this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the same wash, but with a little bit of a darker green. And so the same thing. I'm using my primary yellow, adding a little bit more of the blue, not a whole lot more, but a little bit more. It's better if I show you. And it's going to give me a little bit of a darker tinge. And then with this, I'm going to cover the under part of my foliage. And if the light comes from this direction, like this whole section here will be very much lit up. And this whole section under will be very much darker. So even this area here on the side will be darker. And I'm just, this is also darker here. And everything that's under, just think of it as being in the shade. So if it's in the shade, it's got a darker color. And should they touch it? They could, but for this first layer, doesn't have to. And then once I'm done with my foliage, I still have a little bit of this, but if you don't have any, you can make some more. And you should add a little bit of your alizarin crimson, which I forgot to put on my palette. So I'm just getting a little bit of my alizarin crimson mixed with this color gives me something like this. See, it gives some sort of a brown. Might be a little bit more brown, a little bit less brown, but it's still very watery. And with this, I'm just going to cover the tree trunk. So that's my tree trunk. And now's the time to make new branches if you want to. So this is pretty much the way that the branches, this is the way that I had them. And this is just a little branch like this. So you can add even a little bit more of the red if you want it to be more brown. And actually, with a little bit more red makes it a little bit warmer. So for this area, you can have a little bit more red. And for higher, closer under the canopy of the branches, I'm going to add a little bit more blue to make it more like a cooler color. So here, all of this. And oops, this one too. So this is what I have. And I didn't add the grass yet. So in this, I'm going to add a little bit more of my yellow and my red. I keep it very, very, very light. And it gives me something like this, very close to what I had before for the tree trunk, but it's just a little warmer by adding a little bit more of my red. And here, my red and my yellow. I mean, these colors are very close, but it's just to add a little bit of the whatever is going to be here, the grass, like so. Okay, now if I find that, so if you have, you know, a little bit too much water and it tends to accumulate like this or like this here, you can dry your brush on your paper towel and just pick it up. And it's going to pick it right up. It even leaves the canvas completely white. So if you don't want to have these. Now, see this one here, I find it's a little too thick and too dark. So I'm just going to go like this. And using my paper towel, I'm going to dry this. And now it's gone. And I can redraw it. Same thing over here. I have 3 branches. I didn't want 3. I only want 2. I'm going to use a smaller brush for this. I wet it. I dry it on my paper towel. Now I'm going to remove this middle one here. I dried it on the paper towel in between and there. So this way I've removed this middle branch here that I didn't like. And I find that this one here, it's a little bit too much into the foliage. So I can dry it. I can remove it like this. And it's a little too thick. So I'm going to thin it with my brush. And don't worry if you remove the foliage color. Once you paint on top of all of this, then, you know, it will disappear. So all of these misses. So now, if you look at it from a distance, it already looks very interesting. I like the shape. Now, do I like that this goes here, down here like this? I kind of like the shape. Maybe these two could touch. So I can, you know, add a little bit more of this green, the dark green. I'm trying to keep it you know, very watery. That's the key. Very watery. So I'm going to have them touch. So I'm linking them here like this. I'm still very watery in terms of, so it gives interesting shape here in between. And this is my first coat. And now I already have the shape of my tree. And you know, the trick will be to add layers and layers of paint. Now I have dried my brush one more time because the light comes from this direction. And so all of this canopy of foliage casts a shadow here on the upper branches, but not necessarily on the tree trunk. So the tree trunk on this side would be lighter. So, you know, you can lighten the tree trunk on this side with your dry brush, like so. And we're already creating the effect of the shadow. So we'll be able to use white. See, this line here is a little too dark. Not sure I can erase it, but we'll be able to use white if we need to towards the end. But if I go like this, I'll probably be able to almost erase it. Yeah, there. So I went white with this, and I can re-add when it's time to go thicker. Is there any questions on this? First step.
So we're starting with yellow and a little bit of blue,
Yes.
but mostly yellow.
So here we are. Everything is dried up, you know, completely, because I haven't touched it for the last 15 minutes. And now I have the overall shape of my foliage, which I really like. And I have my branches. So if you plan, like, for example, Janet, if you plan to lower the foliage
Yes.
onto the branches, you could do so with your wash, so that you would already know and have the confidence of which area you're going to paint with thick paint when the time comes.
Okay.
So if you want to lower your foliage a
Yeah, I
little
should
bit,
do it now.
Yeah.
now would be a good time to do so.
Do I have to do the light green first, or can I just go for the
You
medium?
can just go for the mid green.
Okay.
And
That is.
and if any of your tree trunks or branches, maybe you made them too thick, or you know, and you can't really remove the colors because it's just too dry and or too
Right.
thick. So one of the things that you can do, Leslie, is
Yeah.
you can squeeze out a little white and just, you know, put it in the areas where you find that it's too wide or it's the wrong shape maybe.
It's the wrong shape.
So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of white. Where's my white?
Oh, I didn't get my white.
Onto my palette. I hadn't squeezed out it yet. And so let's say over here.
Yeah, wait a minute. I just need to get white.
Oh, okay.
If you don't, I'll have to put on makeup.
Yeah. With watercolor, you almost necessarily have to paint from light to dark, because in watercolor, when you have made a section dark, it's a lot harder once it's dry to make it lighter again without messing up the paper. I mean, there are methods, but it always has a much more fresh look when you can paint and you don't have to retouch it after. So painting from dark to light, from light to dark in watercolor is good. In acrylic, we could do either way. We can paint from light to dark and from dark to light and from mid-tone to dark or mid-tone to light. One thing happens though with acrylics, when you start using the white, the colors will lose their vibrancy and their lushness. So as much as you can use the white of the canvas, to keep your colors light. It will keep some sort of a vibrancy to the colors that you will lose once you add the white to the acrylics. And what I mean by that, and I'm not sure it's possible to see it on this, but on this tree, so up here, I painted the tree and I just put the yellow and a little bit of blue to make it a light green. But in this area here, I added white to my color.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whereas, so I used this color and I added white and it gave me another variation of the green. But these colors are not as vibrant as the one next to it, where this one here, I never put white in it. But it's very possible to use white. And if you lose the vibrancy like I did here, once this is dry, you can always come back with the same color without using the white. So you have to mix the yellow and the blue to make the similar green. And if you add that on top, then it will re-add the vibrancy.
Wow.
Yeah, but this is very advanced topic, but I thought I'd share that with you.
I think that is advanced, Claire.
Yes, it's very advanced, and we're not trying to do this here today.
Not quite there yet.
So now, when painting with acrylics, one of the things that can be done, and that's what we're going to do today, is we are going to paint those branches all the way through, and then we're going to add the foliage back on top of the foliage. Yay!
Yay.
So are you almost ready, Leslie?
Yeah, almost. But go ahead.
So should we be making some paint?
I'm going to tell you what to do.
Oh, good.
The light in my studio is not super good, but I'm going to try and show this very close by. So can you see here this nice brown that I have?
Yes.
And then on this side here, it's a lighter version. It has a lot of yellow in it. I think it's not quite warm enough. We should make it a little bit more warmer. And then here, my brown gets very dark because, and cool, because what happens is this part of the tree is surrounded by grass, and the grass, you know, reflects on the tree. And so therefore it makes it a little lighter and a little warmer. Whereas these branches are under the foliage, and there's a shadow from the upper leaves and the upper foliage onto these branches. So that's why it's much darker. So what I did is I made the brown, and then to my brown, I added a little bit more blue, and it gave me this color. So what colors do we need, and how do we make the colors for the tree branches? The colors that we are using are the same color that we have been using since last week. And this is the ultramarine blue, the alizarin crimson. I have the primary yellow, and we will be using the white, which is titanium white, but not at first. And I have other colors on my palette just because I've been painting something else, but you don't need to have other colors. So I'm going to do the mixes with my palette knife so I can mix a lot so you can see very well. And the colors that I'm going to mix at this time that I'm going to use are the red, the alizarin crimson, and my green. The green that's made from primary yellow and ultramarine blue. And to make this green, I need more yellow than blue because the blue is stronger than the yellow. So watch this, and then I will give you time to do your own mixes after. So I'm going to use some blue. Can you see this? Yeah, some blue and a lot of yellow. I'm putting my yellow here, and I'm making my nice green. Now, notice how I did not add, I'm not adding any water because I want this to be thick. So this is my green. Could add a little bit more blue in it. Still pick from the ultramarine blue. So I want a nice, nice green. And so just to show you the color that I've made, here's my testing strip. So have a nice deep green. This is my nice deep green, and it's very close to what I have on the color wheel. Mind you, this is someone else's color wheel. So anyway, but this is my nice deep green that I have and that I'm going to use. Now, I take a little bit of this nice deep green here, put it over here. To this color, I'm going to add the red. The red is the alizarin crimson. So how much red do I need? Do I need the same amount or less or more? So right now I have the same amount of green as I have red. So I'm going to start with a little bit of my red, put it in the green, see what happens. Wow, nice, nice, nice color. So I am getting a beautiful brown color. So if I show you, I'm getting a beautiful brown color. Can you see it? Now, if I want this to be lighter, I should probably add a little bit more green to it, or I can add a little bit of water. So let's say I add a little bit more green to it, then it will give me like another variation of my brown, like this. But I think this is a very good mix. Now let's say that I would like to have more of a darker color, more like this color that I have here. So then what I need to do, so I start with my green again. You still see it? Yep. And I add the red to it. Nope. Don't have quite exactly the same as here. All right. So in this, I made a separate one just so you can see that I, how I do this, but I want to keep some of this. So to this color that I just made, same as this, then I'll add a little bit more blue into it. And what will happen is my color will get darker and cooler and more of a brownish color. So let's see. I'm just going to do another variation of it. And then I'll show you. All right. So I'm going to take the other side of this. Right. So I'm going to put a little water in it just so you can see, but we'll paint with dark. So this is the original brown that I made. So it's pretty beautiful, and it could be light.
Freezing on me. No.
What?
Oh, damn.
What's happening?
I lost you.
You lost me.
Claire, I lost you. How the heck?
So the colors that I have made this is the first color. And then by adding a little bit of blue to my color, then it gives me a color that could be a little deeper of a brown. And if I add even more blue to the mix, then it will be an even deeper brown. Can you see the differences? Oops.
Yes.
So this gives you more of a warmer tone, whereas this gives you more of a darker and cooler tone. So this color here that I have is
Yes.
very good for all the nice little branches that we're going to put in the foliage. That is, so all of these branches here that we have, all of this will be very good to make them with the final color that I showed you. Whereas this here, so if I put the example at the same time with the tree. All right. So now we have this color that I made. This is made by mixing the green with the red. And I get this nice warm brown, which we will use on here. And then by adding a little bit more blue or even more blue, then we get a much darker and deeper brown. And this color is what we're going to use for all these little branches that are here through the foliage. All right. Now's the time to use these colors. I will continue the demonstration and I will give you time after to do all of this. Now I'm using a big brush, but you could be using oops. I recommend maybe you could be using this size brush. I'm going to be using this size brush, but this would probably be good. If you don't have either of these, maybe you have a small round brush that could work too. Or maybe you have a filbert, such as this. This could work too. It's not very big, but it could work. So any brush that you have could do the job. I'm going to start by wetting my brush, but I remove as much water from the brush as I can before I pick up the paint. And when I pick up the paint, I pick up a lot of paint. This is the brown that I made by mixing my green and my red. And look how much paint I have on my brush. There's a lot of paint here. And I'm going to use this color to paint my tree trunk. And so I'm just going to go and put it on. And, you know, I'm going to put a few branches. So what's happening here is I know that I will need a little bit of light on this side. So I'm picking up a little bit of white. Not too much, a little bit. And I'm going to apply it here on this side.
Right over the brown.
Right over the brown. And give some nice effects. And once you've put it on, you leave it. Or if you want to add a little bit more brown on top, you could. So it's going to do some wet on wet. So it gives me this. So now I have the shadow on this side, and I have all of the nice brown here. And then the next step is to add all of these limbs that are going to be the darker color that I made. So I'm dipping into this darker color that I made, which is this one here, this one. So I put some color on my brush. And see, this is a wide brush, but if I go and paint, you know, sideways with it, then I can create all these limbs. Now I'm used to doing this, so I can do it in the air, but you can put, you know, one arm to support like this, to support your other arm. In this way, you have support. And if you're painting on your table, then you can simply put your you know, you're on your table. You don't have to paint in the air. So I'm just, you know, putting this color on all these limbs. So this will be our first step. So this is what it gives me. Now, your turn.
Okay.
To show you. So this is your tree.
Oh, God.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, it's got
Unfortunately.
the, you know, the finishing line a little bit on the side, but it's no big deal.
Oh my God, it's
So
awful.
one thing that's happening with your tree
Not awful.
is
Ugh.
it's not awful, by the way. It is an excellent start. Beautiful brown colors you have here. Very
Yeah, the color-
warm. I love them. And they're a great complement to your green. So what's happening here is, see how this part of the tree goes from this width to a wider width here.
Yeah.
This is not possible in nature. If the tree goes from a wider to a skinnier, it's because there's another branch that went off to the side.
Oh.
Yes. So I think what you could do, I'm just gonna use white here to do this.
Okay.
And so what you could do is you could make this branch, this area here, just a little.
A branch. Oh, wow.
It doesn't have to be completely straight. And so therefore the tree at the bottom will also be a little
Oh,
like
wow.
this.
Wow.
That is a big difference.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And so this is too thick to go there. So down here, it'll, you know.
Oh, I wish I had that little square thing.
So I'm just gonna make this a little bit bigger so we can see better. Oops.
Like, yeah, see, the bottom's horrible.
See,
Horrible.
so what's happening here is this. So now you have this branch that goes this way. And this branch here, it's still wider here at the bottom. So
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another branch. So,
That's
and the
good.
branch doesn't have to be this thick. It could be just a
Thin.
skinny little branch like this.
Wow.
And I made it a point not to put it right in the middle between this branch and this branch.
Yep.
Put it here.
Nice.
Now what's happening here, the negative space, it's a little bit too much of the same size between,
Yeah,
you know, the
screwed up
distance.
there.
So you could also trim that a little bit.
With white?
Yeah.
With white mixed with anything or just plain white?
Just white.
Okay.
So you could go like this.
Yeah, take that all away. Oh, I hate it.
And
Yeah,
a
that's
branch, see how this branch here on the left, it goes from the tree trunk in, naturally goes in parts away.
Yeah.
Now this branch here, that's right here, it's very perpendicular. It's almost impossible to have this so perpendicular. So it's not as natural. So I would go like this. And
yeah, I need that area cleaned up, so.
And like this. So now your branch is a little bit less of perpendicular, see?
Yep. Then I got a fat one right there.
Yeah, this isn't bad.
No, the other one.
Oh, this
that
one here.
Yeah.
So this one, you could trim it a little bit like this.
Okay.
Or you could decide that this branch goes like this. So you could decide this branch, whoops, this is too thick. Goes like this.
Yeah, take it all out.
So this one here is actually, it's behind the other one and it
Oh,
continues
yeah.
here. Well, it's not done very well, but you know what I mean?
Yep,
So this
Yep.
way the negative spaces
makes
become
sense.
interesting. And
Can you,
this one here, it probably continues
all the way up, yeah.
all the way to your foliage.
I went mental there with branches. I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, actually, it's good to have a lot, but the branches sometimes are, you know, have to be a little skinnier.
Yeah, they're too thick.
Yeah.
Can I get a copy of that?
Yes.
Oh,
Now, I'm
thank
going to
you.
say one more thing, though. Oops.
Okay,
So you need to have a little bit of a lighter tone to, we said that the light comes from the left.
yeah,
So it's
that's
going to
not
hit
right.
here.
Yeah,
So I'm just
so it
going to
should
go
be
like
white.
this. So this area here
Put some white on it.
would be nice if it were, yeah, just a little lighter. This
Wow.
way. And it could be a little oblique. So now you have the light that comes from the left. And
Yep.
this lit area, sunlit area here.
Wow, nice job.
So I'm
That's why
going to
you're
send
the
this back
teacher.
to you.
Okay, thank you. Nice job.
But if I were to, you know, if I look at the overall of your tree, it's a very good start. Now we still have to repaint the whole foliage and we're going to have fun with it next week, but it's already 3:06.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So leave it like, fix it and then bring it next week?
So can you see your tree?
Oh, it looks nice.
Let's see, I'm gonna pinch it out.
Very
You
nice.
know what? There's a problem. I'm missing the bottom part. Okay, hold on. All right, so now we can see the tree. And it's actually pretty good. So what is it that,
Jeez, I don't see anything.
like, is there anything?
I dry brushed all the white off because it looked horrible.
Oh,
And I just left a little bit of it on this
Yeah.
side,
yeah, looks pretty good.
which was
Yeah.
really more of an orange than anything.
So let's say that I were to get your color, just make it a little.
Yeah, my question was the white section.
So I'm just gonna make it, you know, not so thick and bigger. But,
And there's no transition, you know, you're going from this to the dark tree.
but
I mean, the dark branches.
you have a lot of red in your
Yeah.
color. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. So someone just called. So if I go like this, then, you know, you've got a nice.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Oh, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah. So this is very nice. Now this branch here, maybe it's a little thick on the thick
Yeah.
side. So what I would say is, make it thin. Maybe you have a branch that goes more like this.
That wasn't intentional. I had a thick brush. The brush was too big.
Yeah. Maybe you have a branch that goes a little bit, you know, off like this. And, you know, once we retouch the foliage, you could trim this.
Cover that, yes. Originally, it was much better, much thinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could potentially make it a little
Yeah, narrower.
Now, like this. And of course, that means that you would also need to make this area a little narrower. Now I see here you have like a little bulge.
Yeah,
So
that was
maybe
intentional.
maybe it's because you have like another branch that goes like this. Or like this. See?
Yes.
So now from this skinnier goes to a thicker because you have branches going,
Yes.
from either side. Now this one here, probably you have a branch that's going this way too, or maybe it's going this way.
Yeah, definitely needed more branches.
Oh, it looks nice.
Much better.
Yeah. It was good to begin with.
It's great, a great technology to be able to do that, Claire.
Yeah, it's good. I discovered this program that I have on my computer. So anyway, if we
So
look at the,
can you send that, please?
yes, I will.
And
Okay.
me
So-
too.
Yes, I saved it. So next week we will work on the foliage and we will add branches, through here. But your homework is only to clean up this part if you
Yes.
clean it up and add a little light on one
Okay.
side.
I got a lot to clean up.
And I'm going to save this.
That's the whole picture. I might do it over.
Well, you could.
I think I'm gonna do it over.
It's not a bad idea to, watch the recording again.
And get more of a wash.